So in today's video, we're going to talk to you about how you can get more clients as a barber in 2025.
If your books aren't full, it's not because there's not enough clients, it's because they don't trust you yet. Let's fix that.
More clients means more money, but most barbers go about it the wrong way. Here's how to actually get booked solid. So point number one, build trust first. So the first big thing that's going to get you more clients as a barber is building trust first. Clients book barbers that they trust. So showing up consistently online and offline is going to help you getting more people to come and sit in your chair. As Lee just said, if your books aren't full, it's not because there's not enough clients in the world. It's because they just don't trust you yet. So Lee, how would you go about getting people's trust so that they come and sit in your chair?
Yeah, I think it's really worth framing that up a little bit. Anything we sell in this world or anything that we want people to buy, we have to understand that it's all about buyer safety. And that requires this mindset and framework of like, how can we go from complete random stranger to trusted, safest source for me to buy this thing from? The speed in which you can do that makes a massive difference in how people are going to book with you, or if they even book with you, right? Because there's a thing that I love that you share with our coaching group all the time is like, if you have to make people think, that's the moment you lose them. And unfortunately, in this modern world, we're in a world of, lack of attention and many options, right? And that's true for the barbering world as well. There's thousands of barbers, all with online pages and digital presence, right? Online presence. And if we don't find a way to, number one, bring that person into our world, but then put them through our trust funnel and become a stranger to a trusted source quickly, then there's a high chance we could lose them and they'll go and book somewhere else. So, straight off the top, I talk about this a lot in my own personal content. It's something that I'm really passionate about because oftentimes the thing that stops people is not a tactics thing. Everybody knows what they have to do, but it goes on in here. There's a reason why they're not doing these things. So number one is to have your name. Like it's obvious, right? Don't put a mysterious, cool tagline name. Have your name, like your real name. Have a picture of your face, your actual face, like not an AI generated one, not one where you're on the side or anything like that, and a picture of you. So someone could realize, oh, it's another human. And that again builds engagement and builds trust. Have things like your location, and make everything really easy to follow and easy to find on your page. And this might sound like simple stuff, but you'll be amazed at how much safety this builds into a client's mind. So they go, oh, it's all those little pieces. They might not even be aware of what they're paying attention to, but name, yeah, nice. Oh, that's what he looks like, yeah. Oh, that's someone like me. Yeah, I could imagine me being in his world. What does he do? Where is he? Oh, yeah, he's an expert in this. Does that? Cool. And where do I book? Oh, I book there. Yeah, cool. You're building this really smooth, simple process in this person's head, which basically you put them on a little sled down the funnel. It's really easy, and naturally they think, oh yeah, this guy knows what he's doing. Great. And then you back that up with really good content, like authority-driven content, and placing yourself as the expert in your field, or, in their eyes, you don't have to be the expert in the field because that's up for debate, right? But we need to be in our dream prospects' eyes, our dream clients' eyes. We need to be the go-to authority. So I think that's just really some simple frameworks to follow there. And I don't know if it needs to get any more complicated than that. Really, if you just focus on stuff that builds trust with real human beings, I think you're going to be fine, because it's most important that we do that online because it's not real, right? And I think if it's a digital replica of the real world. So if we can make it as real as possible, I think you could do way better. What do you find? What do you see that people could work on more to build trust?
Well, I think trust is the most important currency that we're dealing with when we're selling anything to anyone. And, we were on a call earlier this morning and I heard somebody say they don't have a product yet to sell, or they're not selling anything at the moment. And I typed something in the chat and I didn't put it through, but I was going to say because this wasn't our call. It was a call that we were involved in. And I typed something in the chat and I was like, you're always selling something to someone. You're always selling something to someone. It's who you are as a person. What do clients want? They want consistent haircuts from a trusted source, somebody who has evidence and proof that they are who they say they are and they can deliver on what it is they're saying. So the more evidence and the more proof that you can show them, the easier it is for them to trust you. When they trust you, they buy from you. It's a very simple formula, but too many overcomplicate it and are waiting for, like, say, the perfect piece of content or things to be perfect. But in that focus and in that lens, you actually end up subtracting and taking away from your trust rather than adding to it. And you know, we have this ability these days to be able to accelerate the trust process massively if we just know what levers to pull and what to put on our profile, what kind of content to share. And we'll get into that again in a second, but how quickly can we bring people down the trust funnel? You know, like you're mentioning there, how quickly can we take somebody from a stranger to like trusted source, like trusted advisor, right? Because at the end of the day, most men that have ever sat in my barber chair, so most clients who ever had come to my barber chair, the one thing that they said that they liked the most about what I did was consistency. And they're going to look for consistency before they come and see you for consistency. They're going to look at your page on Instagram. How many times are you posting? Are you showing up for business? Are you open? Like if your last post was 6 months ago, you're slowing down the trust acceleration process. Whereas if it was 6 hours ago, they'd be like, oh, okay, this guy's active. This is where barbering gets a bit confusing, because barbers who have been around for a long time and are established, sometimes they're just busy. They're just busy cutting their clients' hair. But like the ones who are in that position, be careful, because if you're only cutting clients that you've been cutting for years, you might be putting a ceiling on your growth. You know, if you're not keeping your books open for new clients to come in, because the ones that have known you forever, unless you're consistently sharing and like giving them an insight into your world other than when they see you in the barber chair, if you're not demonstrating your value through your page to those people, they're always going to see you as the same person, and it's going to be very hard to put your rates up. So it's not just about getting more clients, it's about getting quality clients.
And I see that as one of the big blocks for people in their progress in their careers. Like you said, people that have been doing it a long time, they all of a sudden think, oh yeah, well, I'm booked and I'm busy, so I don't need to do all the other stuff. You know, there was a great line that we spoke about in one of our coaching calls the other day. It's like, you know, marketing and showing up online and showing your work isn't extra work. It's the work along with your hair cutting. And that, like I was saying there, is it can be a ceiling, right? Because everybody develops as a stylist. You know, I never did the same haircuts each 5-year block in my career. My haircuts evolved and changed, and yes, I could still do the ones I used to, but there were seasons that different things came in. So if I didn't consistently show people that, I would have felt like, oh, well, I guess, well, I'm stuck now. You know, I'm bored. I'm stuck, and I start to resent the thing. So yeah, it's equally important to start to show that stuff so that you can keep on progressing as a hairstylist as well. And I think that leads really nicely into like our next point of like just getting really great at the skill. Like, because we spoke to content, and a general rule of thumb that I give people is, keep your hair stuff around, 60% of your stuff, 70%, whatever. You can play with that number, and then the rest sprinkle in some other cool stuff, some behind the scenes, some stuff about you, some lifestyle stuff, and make sure you're teaching your clients some really useful stuff, and maybe inspire them or entertaining them. Make sure you got that nice bit of content, but. I love the point that you bring up to our guys all the time is like, at the end of the day, take it all away, all the fancy stuff away. What are the clients really looking for? What are they really looking for?
Yeah.
They're looking for a result. Like they want a really good haircut. No one really goes, like, what am I looking for today? I'm looking for a stranger to give me a bang average haircut. Like nobody really thinks that. They're thinking, and especially if they're looking for somewhere new, they're probably thinking, if their barber hasn't already quit on them or left, I'm going to go somewhere different because I want something different. I want something new. I want something better. So our point here is don't ever stop trying to get really good at cutting hair. If all else fails, that will get you through a lot of the way, and make your product so good that it speaks for itself. I love the thing that Alex Hormozi says, make a product so good that people just don't stop talking about it. They make the product so good that they do the selling for you, because your clients can do 50% of the selling for you. That's the beauty of having a geographically locked business, is like you're dealing with the local area, and the more noise you can make in a local area, the better. So yeah, I love that point.
I see a lot in barbering that like people will lean on the service and the consultation and like their personality more than they'll lean on the product if the product isn't strong. But like, I always thought, why not do both? You know, because in the beginning when I was learning to get better at the skill and at the craft and making my products great, I used my personality and like the consultation and the experience as like my leverage in those moments. But as time went on, it's like, okay, well, I can actually be more of myself and I don't have to put on a show if I'm just really damn good at what I do. So you can't overlook that. At the end of the day, if I'm over here, I'm in Bali, I want to get a haircut, I don't know any single barber over here, the first thing that I'm going to look at as a client is how good are the haircuts? Can they cut hair? It's less about the convenience of like where they are or where they're located. That will also come into it later. But first, it's like, can they do the job? Can they get me the result? And everything else is a bonus after that. You know, it's kind of net profit after that. But if you can give them a 200% return, 300% return, when you layer on top of it the consultation, the experience, the conversation, whatever it is, right? That's where you're going to be able to retain people really well, because that's the thing. Your marketing will get people to the chair, but the service and the product essentially, and when I say service, I mean how you serve them, like what you give them, the thing that you do is going to be the thing that keeps them there. Because anyone can Photoshop a haircut these days, but like delivering a fantastic product that's suitable and functional for that person at that particular time in their life is just what wins for me.
I love to try and draw parallels to other industries as well. It's like the food industry and the restaurant industry. Like, people will travel to go to a good restaurant. They will. You know, when we used to work in Melbourne, there were a lot of people who that was a big part of the culture, was going out for dinner, going out to these restaurants. People will travel miles to go to these different restaurants. And in your head, in my head, I thought for a second, that's not a good analogy, but it actually is, because people will go out for dinner every single week. They might only get a haircut every 2-3 weeks. So people will travel. And I even have observed my own behavior. I used to do it too. I travel over an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours to the city, and then go to all these different places just because the product was so good. Was it about convenience of location? No. Was I there every week? No. But when I was in town, I'd make sure I go to there and go to there and go to there. Yeah, a really great product is just paramount really for getting great clients and high quality clients as well. Like, even think about, I don't know, a store in Melbourne, for example. Like, I don't wear these brands, but some of these sneaker stores or these acne studios or something like that, people would travel miles to get to that shop. They would, because the product is spot on. It's exactly what they want. You know, it's high end, it's luxury. I get that. That's a different thing. But you know, for the brand and the product, people will go there and they'll get exactly what they need. And we had that experience in our own lives as well. People would travel miles to come and see us.
Yeah, so it's positioning, right?
Yeah,
and brand. Essentially, you know, people will buy the thing that they feel represents them the best.
Yeah.
So that's why your clients are a reflection of you. So the clients that you're attracting, if you're attracting shit clients right now, it might be something for you to look at. Yep. You know, it might be for reasons that you're not necessarily realizing. So your clients are a reflection of you, meaning if you have cheap clients, it's probably because that's what you're putting up with. You know, that's what you're signing up for. Who is it that says it? It's probably Tony Robbins. He comes out with most of the quotes, or Jim Rohn. You get what you tolerate. And there's no right, no wrong. There's just a spectrum of different types of clients who want different things. So it's not always about getting more clients. It's about getting quality clients, because it's easy to get cheap ones. Yep. There's a quantitative approach and there's a qualitative approach. And it's like, which one are you optimizing for?
Mm. And that's really important. I think there's, you know, one of our other points here about, you know, getting great clients into your chair is leveraging, you know, the word of mouth and referrals. Like, that's why it is so important to curate and qualify and direct the right people into your chair and attract the right people into your chair, because the last thing you want is the crappiest client in the world telling all of their friends, who also are probably crap clients, to come to you. And then all of a sudden, 50% of your weeks are filled with all these people that you just don't like.
Yeah.
So that's one side of the thing. It's like, when we're talking about building a great clientele in a fixed location barbershop, because barbershops I know there are some mobile ones. For the majority, they're fixed location. People come to you. You are relying on, for a percentage of what you're going to get is referrals and word of mouth, and they're generally going to be like reasonably local people. So qualifying and curating and attracting those high quality clients makes so much sense, because it's highly likely they're going to have friends that are like them, and we witnessed this a lot in our careers. Like, it was rare that a great client would send a crap client. Sometimes they would, but oftentimes the great clients would send other great clients, because their reputation's on the line as well. They don't want to send in, dingbats into us, and then we then associate that dingbat with that person, and then it raises an eyebrow. It's like, what is Dave hanging around with people like that for? So, my favorite clients would always send me some of their favorite people as well, and they generally ended up being pretty decent people. That's why it's so important to get your branding right. And like Owen said, your clients often are a reflection of you. It's a deep one, and it can be hard to sit with that one, but it's more true than we actually think.
Yeah. Because if you have great clients, you've put time into being great yourself.
Yeah.
Because you can now recognize what great is. It's like the real recognize real.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a great tactic there in building a clientele. And we spoke about it in a previous episode as well. I used to use it a lot back in the salon, referral systems and word of mouth. Because when I was hairdressing in the salon, for the first half of my career, social media didn't exist. So we were all very hot on the referral thing. And they're not used as much anymore, but like business cards were a big thing. And I used to run this system where I'd give a free product to the person who was really good at referring people. And I've told the story before about the golf president that I used to cut, president of the local golf club, and she would send in women of her kind of stature and age and status in life, and it was great. They all had money. They were all, wives of business owners who had retired, so they had a bit of cash sitting around and free time, and and they had nice haircuts as well. They appreciated quality, and it was great. So in a geographically locked business model, which is a lot of barbershops, always remember that play the local game as much as you play the global game. And when you sandwich the two together, you've got a really good marketing method. And one of the traps that we see a lot is people are trying to play the global game more than they're playing the local game. They're trying to become the global hero, not the local hero. And that can be a little bit damaging to you when you're trying to get busy, because you're completely ignoring the people in your local area. And it's like a restaurant, right? Imagine if a restaurant started out and they didn't put the sign outside, and they didn't do opening evenings and all these kinds of things, but all they did was promote on social media, but 50% or more of those people didn't even live in that country. They were all going to America and the restaurants in Melbourne. Well, of course it's not going to be busy. Of course it's not. I heard the thing, bring up the quote of Daniel Priestley. He said, if you have a geographically locked business, 75% of the stuff you try and do online isn't going to work. And that was him being really honest about what the mindset of the different types of marketing that you need to do with the type of business that you have. And that is a big trap these days. Like, we see a lot of coaches out there, and this is no shade or no hacking on any coaches, but they just heavily promote like an online marketing model, which is good, but we have to remember that our business is geographically locked. And like, I think Priestley's probably right. Like 70% of those people, they're not even ever going to sit in your chair. You could get hundreds and thousands of likes, but If they're never going to sit in your chair, then what's the point? And, you know, on one of the coaching calls that we're on, the great business owner, Matt Lakachev, he said, you know, some people post for likes, but you really want to be posting for leads. Now that was awesome, really awesome for barbers to think about that. Don't just post for likes, post for leads. What's the equivalent of a lead in the barbering world? Is a potential customer, a dream customer, dream prospect. Post for those guys, not for the likes, because 70% of the likes that you get on your stuff are from people that are never going to sit in your chair. Now, if that's part of the way that you want to do it, if you've got a different plan for your career and there's something else that you want to do on a global scale, fantastic. But most people just want to make great money from what they do. They want to make a living. They want to enjoy it. They want to be able to feed their families. They want to have a nice house and just do nice stuff and cool stuff with their life and not feel like they're dragging their feet through the mud while they're doing it. So that means we need to really lock in on the local level. So that's a big one for me. I'm pretty passionate about that one, as I just went on an absolute rant with that. But the reason I'm passionate about it is because it works so well for me, and it still works really well. Someone asked me on Instagram the other day, can a business still succeed without social media? Absolutely. But is it advised? No, but you can do it. Why? Why? Because the first word in social media is social. And I think that's the most important part. And I think Owen's great proof of that in his own world. Like, he's very good at social relationships and speaking to people and making people feel welcome and seen and heard and all that kind of stuff. That goes way further than, you know, sometimes that goes way further than a couple of posts, just chuck them out to the world on social media, you know? But I think it's just, I love that. It's so overlooked in the barbering world. Do not forget, humans are humans. Humans trust each other as well. When, especially like if they've got a friend or a family member or someone, you know, there's that other great line, like time breeds trust. Yeah, it's another great thing that we heard on one of our coaching calls. Time breeds trust. So like if you've got a friend that's recommending you a barbershop, of course you're going to trust them. You know, but if someone's just jumped on your page in, you know, 30 seconds ago and they're like, oh, this barber, what differentiates them from everybody else? And it might take them, you know, weeks, months, years to book with you. And they might not even.
Yeah. It's like brand by association, you know?
Yeah.
Like the studio we're sitting in now is Darren's. I came across Darren through another coach that we follow called James Kemp. And I just immediately trusted Darren, and we've paid him to be in his program without really even knowing that much about him or about the program.
Yeah.
It's just trust and brand by association. And, you know, I guess to tie it all up in a bow, one of the cool things to kind of think about here when it comes to getting more clients, you know, of course, everyone thinks logically, like on the surface and logically that I want to get more clients, but be careful with that, because you only have to get busy once with the right clients and then you're good, you're set, because then it becomes its own ecosystem. Whereas you can just get more clients tomorrow. Anyone could get more clients tomorrow by spiking their prices downwards or cutting their prices in half and just getting a load of people to come through the doors once and like not really enjoying any of the experience. It's easy to get more, but I would encourage you to get quality clients because you only have to do it once. So we hope that you enjoyed that discussion on how to get more clients, not only more clients, but higher quality clients as a barber in 2025. There's plenty more where this has come from. And for anybody who got value out of this, if you found this useful, please do reach out to us with some key takeaways. We'd love to hear your opinions. Drop a comment below, like the video. This will help us get it out to more people and help more people just like you. And if you want to have a chat, please reach out to us on Instagram. You'll find our handles in the description.